All right, so we're going to start today on our backs. And I encourage you to make sure that when you're on your back, you just make sure your blanket is somewhere nearby and your block is somewhere nearby. And we're just going to start by just falling onto our backs. And when you find yourself onto your back, you might just notice what it feels like to let yourself just lie down, legs long, arms out to the right and to the left, noticing just what it feels like to let yourself be. It's been interesting for me to notice this week how often we may not take the opportunity to just check in and see how we are, how often there's this impetus to be somewhere else doing something else. So as you're here for these first few breath cycles, I encourage you to just take a few deep breaths in and a few deep breaths out, reminding yourself that there's nowhere else you have to be, nothing else that you have to do. They're right here, right now. This is all you need to be doing. And as you take these next 3 to 5 breaths here, the next encouragement will be to just observe the body, starting perhaps from the crown of the head. And as though you're a slow Xerox machine from the 80s, it probably still doesn't work. You're going to start at the crown of your head and just slowly scan down through your body. And you're just noticing what you notice. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. There's nothing that needs to be changed. You're just taking this very slow, detailed copy of what the body is doing now, creating an imprint for how the body is. And when you get all the way down to the soles of your feet, I'd like you to come back and just observe where the breath is in the body. Do you notice it in the nose, the throat, the chest, the belly? Wherever your breath naturally wants to go, that is a-okay. And today in our practice, the impetus, or the invitation rather, is to just notice how much you can use everything that we do as sort of a moving meditation. So the goal is to always stay connected to your breath, to always be rooted and anchored in that, in the midst of everything else that might be asked of you. Always keeping this anchor, this presence in the moment. Okay. So let's go ahead and start to deepen our breath. Walk your feet together, keeping the legs long, and then we'll flex through both feet, and then bring your hands alongside your hips, palms face down. Great, and then you'll inhale, reach your right arm up and overhead, flex through the left foot, touch the floor behind you. And exhale, lower the hand down, point through the left foot and release the right arm down. And then we'll do that on the other side. So inhale, left arm, flex through the right foot, extend out through that heel, up through the fingers, and exhale, point through the foot, lower the hand down. And then inhale, both arms, flex through both feet, noticing how the breath is moving now. And then exhale, pointing through both feet, arms come back alongside your hips. And we'll do that 3 more times. So inhale, right arm, left foot, extending up, reaching out through fingers, out through heel. Exhale, lower the hand, point through the foot. And then inhale, opposite side, left arm, flexing through right foot. Exhale, lowering the hand, pointing through the foot. And then inhale, flexing through both feet, reaching up through both arms. And exhaling down. So you'll take that 2 more times each set. So it's a total of 3, make up each set. And you're just noticing how long you can make the breath as you do this. Noticing that we're naturally just starting to invite in a deeper inhalation. And just observing what this does to your state of being. Very often, the act of just merely breathing, really being connected with wherever we are in our process, in our experience of life, let's just make things seem a little bit softer, a little bit easier. Great. And then the next time you take both arms up and overhead, You'll just bring both hands back down, and then you'll repeat that one more time. Both arms up, both feet flex. And then you'll stay there for about 3 to 5 breath cycles. And I'd like you to reach out through your fingers, hug your shin bones in isometrically towards each other, and just notice if you can send the breath up into the chest, into the upper ribs, and then exhaling, it's from that low belly, pubic bone, pulling in and up. And you just got 2 more steady breath cycles like that, just observing and feeling what that's doing in the body. Nice job. Last steady breath cycle here. Take your last inhalation. And then as you exhale, lower the arms down alongside the hips. Relax through the feet. Take a moment to pause and just notice what you notice. And then you'll gently bend one knee and plant the foot on the floor. Bend the other knee, plant the foot on the floor. And we'll pause here for a moment. I'd like you to just open your feet a little wider than your hips. And just drop your left knee in towards the right foot. And then come back up. And then drop the right knee towards the left foot. And then come back up. And you'll just take 3 or 4 more of those. And if you feel like you need to widen your feet a little bit more, so you're just internally rotating one leg and then the other, by all means do that. Yep. You're just observing how this is pulling, perhaps on the hip, maybe on the side body. Great. And after that right knee has come down and then it comes back up, we'll go ahead and come back to center, back to stillness. If you'd like to plant a block between your upper thighs, by all means, please go ahead and do that. And then we're going to add on. So walk the feet a little closer towards your heels. Inhale, push through your feet, lift your hips, lift your right arm up and over your head, touch the floor behind you. And exhale, lower the right hand, lower both hips back down. And then you'll inhale, lift the hips, lift the left arm up and overhead. And exhale, lower back down. Great. Inhale, both hands, both hips, lifting high, squeezing your block. And exhaling down. And that's the general set. And we'll repeat that 3 more times. So inhale, right arm, both hips lift. And exhale, lowering down. And inhale, lifting the left arm, both hips high. And exhale, lowering down. And then inhaling, both hands, both hips. Nice job. And exhaling, lowering down. You'll repeat that 2 more times on your own. And for these last 2 sets, I encourage you to lengthen the inhalation. So maybe it becomes a 6-count inhalation into that bridge. And then maybe a 6-count exhalation back down. And then maybe again, still 6-count inhalation with that left arm lifting. And exhaling back down. And then again, still that 6-count inhalation, both arms, both hips. And exhaling all the way back down. And then this last set, you might make it a 7-count inhalation. And we're just noticing what we notice. How can we commit to being fully in each little segment of our life without judgment, just like that copy machine? The Xerox doesn't really say, oh, this is not a paper I should be documenting. This is not something I should be copying. It just copies it. It reveals the truth in it as it does it. And that's all we're trying to allow the mind to do. Awesome sauce. Next time both hands and hips come down, we're going to take a pause. Then you'll inhale, push through both feet, push through both, or lift both hips, both arms up and overhead. Make that as long as it can be. Keep your hips high and then exhale, lower the hands back down alongside your hips. Now from here, you might want to walk the shoulder blades underneath each other. You might just turn the palms to face in or interlace the hands. And we're just going to do a few of these. So inhale, your pelvis will drop about 2 to 3 inches, and exhale, squeeze the block, lift the hips. And you've got 4 more of those. And you're just observing what's happening in the back, what's happening in the breath. And so the question I've been asking myself or trying to notice is that very often, if we don't judge things, we just observe how they are moment by moment, breath by breath, not only do they change, but more importantly, our perspective, our opinions about them change. So, this next time your hips are high, you'll go ahead and stay there and you'll just breathe for 4 steady breath cycles. And again, you're just taking a scan starting from the top of the body, slowly working your way all the way down and just noticing what you notice. How are the legs working? How are the feet pressing into the floor? Is it even? Where does the breath feel like it is in the body? How is your head and how is your neck? And you're just slowly working your way through. The end of your next exhalation, you'll just unclasp the hands. If they're clasped, untuck the shoulders and bring your pelvis all the way back down and pause. And when the pelvis comes back down, you just observe and notice what you notice now. How does that body feel? How does the scan of your being feel? Great. Go ahead and remove that block. And then we'll extend both of our arms out to the right and to the left. Push through your feet, lift your pelvis up and slide your bum over to the left. Put your pelvis back down and then extend your right leg long. Now listen very closely. You're going to flex through that right foot, glue your left foot to your right knee. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, cross the leg over to the right just a few inches. And then inhale, come back up. And you've got 4 of these, and you're just paying attention to, oh no, just attached to the knee. So that left foot does not have to touch the floor. You're just taking gentle twists. You're good, Jenny. And so what we're working on here is just allowing small repetitions to create the opportunity for us to get into a twist. So after you've taken 4 of these, you can come all the way over to the right, letting that left knee either touch the block or the floor. You might then bring the right hand to the top of the left thigh if you want. Press into the back of your head and maybe inchworm your right shoulder over to the right a little bit to twist your spine more to the left. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. The smallest things have the biggest impact sometimes if we allow ourselves to check in and notice how they're working. Gently, you'll release that right hand if it's holding the knee. Then inhale, come all the way back up to center. Plant the left foot on the floor, re-square your pelvis, and then draw the right knee in. And you'll just take a moment to pause here and see how that's feeling to you. And the right knee can come into the chest if you'd like, or it can just be on the floor. It's totally up to you. And then we'll try all that on the other side as you're ready. So both arms out to a T shape. Left leg comes long. You might want to scoot your pelvis over to the right first, and then glue the right foot to the left inner thigh. Take a big breath in and exhale, cross the body over to the left. And inhale back up. And you're just noticing what you notice. One of the good things about dynamic movement, which is why we're doing it today, is it not only starts to train the body to teach you about what it's doing, but it also starts to open up the body in various ways. It gives the body the opportunity to slowly ease into things. And so after you've taken about 4 of these, you'll allow that right leg to come over to the left if you'd like, perhaps onto a block, maybe onto the floor. That right hand can come up if it needs to. And what you'll do is just see if you can push in the back of your head, squinch your left shoulder to the left a little bit, and then maybe plant the left hand on the top of the right thigh. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe and you'll notice what you notice and how everything is working here. Awesome sauce. You got one more breath cycle here. Great. And then gently release that left hand. Draw the right knee back to center, plant the right foot on the floor, and then draw the left foot in, re-square the pelvis underneath the shoulders. Great. And then you just notice what you notice here. How's the pelvis? You might want to take a pelvic rock or two if that feels good to you, right to left or front to back. And you're just noticing what you notice. Great. Then we'll come to a still neutral spot. Draw your knees towards your chest, and you might hug onto the legs if you'd like, giving yourself a hug, maybe rocking a little bit right to left, or maybe staying in complete stillness. If you are in movement, go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Release your legs and reach your arms up towards the sky, perpendicular to the floor. And then turn your palms to face in. Keep your legs in towards the chest and lift your shin bones parallel to the floor. Awesome sauce. Start to curl your toes back towards your knees, but push out through the balls of your feet, push out through your heels. This is going to be fun. Inhale, send your right foot forward, your left arm up and over your head. Yep. And then exhale, draw those limbs back towards the midline. Nice job. Inhale, other side. So left leg forward, right arm up and overhead. Yep. Exhale, draw back in. You got 4 sets of these. Inhale, sending the left arm, right leg. Exhale, coming in. And the leg doesn't have to touch the floor. It's just as far as you can go, controlling your abdomen. And exhale, coming in. 2 more sets. And as you take these last 2 sets, see if you can control this so that the limbs arrive at that neutral part at the same time. And then notice if you can elongate the inhalation. So the slower that you move, the more muscle fibers you're building. And so you get to control your own rate of this. Awesome sauce. And then after you've completed that, you'll hug your knees back into your chest. You'll give yourself a happy little hug. And you might rock a little bit right to left. You might stay completely in stillness. It's totally up to you. Great. And then we're going to add on to that. So this time, let's add in Erica's request first, though. So send your left leg forward in front of you. Put it on the floor, flex through that foot, draw the knee into your chest, and bring your hands to the back of your right thigh. And then inhale, kick the right foot up towards the sky, point through the foot, and exhale, flex through the foot, draw the knee closer towards your chest. And you've got 4 of these. This is a little bit of nerve flossing before we do the thigh root. And you're just seeing how this works. Inhaling to extend the leg up. Exhaling, pulling the knee closer to the chest, flexing through that foot. Yep. And after you've taken this last set, you'll just keep that leg extended up towards the sky. And you'll take a few moments to pause and breathe here. You might choose to take some ankle circles. You might choose to use your strap if that feels like that would be appropriate to you. Otherwise, you can just pause and stay and breathe here for a few breath cycles. That left leg is long and strong on the floor. The right leg is reaching up. And you're just observing and noticing what you notice here. I cannot speak for any of you, but I do know that for myself, there's this constant need to drive life forward. And at times that can be exhausting. So how can we just allow ourselves to really find the ability to cherish, to appreciate, to love the person that we are in every given moment of life? And sometimes all that requires is that we just stop and breathe and scan without attempting to change or alter anything. Awesome sauce. So at the end of your next exhalation, you'll gently just bend that knee, drawing it into the chest. If you had a strap, release it and remove it. And then you might move that hip around in the socket if that feels good to you. You're just paying attention to what's happening, scanning the body without necessarily needing to alter, change, correct anything. Great. And then when you feel balanced, you're going to release that foot back down to the floor and just take a moment to notice what you notice between the sides, making sure that the right side and the left side is symmetrical. And then we'll try that on the other side. So you'll bend both knees, planting both feet on the floor, then hug that left knee into the chest. Start to extend your right leg long beneath you, flexing through the foot. And then when you're ready, inhale, start to kick your left leg up to the floor, up to the sky rather, pointing through the foot. And then exhale, flexing through the foot, bending the knee, hugging the knee to the chest. And as you take 3 more of these on your own, you're just working to push the thigh into the hands and pull the hands into the thigh, or the other way around. But you're finding that resistance. The more that you can push into the thigh and then pull into the thigh, you'll find a little bit of strength as well as stretch. Great. Erica, roll your inner right thigh in more a little bit. There you go. And Roberta, not so much. Yours was good. Yep. And then you're just going to stay in that last one. And you might use your strap if you've taken that on the first side, or if you choose to take that on this side. And then we're going to pause. So we're going to see if we can keep our left outer hip drawing down, our right inner thigh rooting down. And again, does that feel okay? Okay. And you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. And you're just noticing what you notice here. How does the back of the sacrum feel? How does the back of the shoulder joint feel? How are you allowing the shoulder blades in the front, or rather the clavicle bones in the front, to widen and to soften away from your ears? And you're just going to pause and you're just going to breathe. And you're going to notice what you notice. And you're just going to see how that's going. And we're not going to worry too much about doing anything other than just being in the shape and breathing. Awesome sauce. And you'll take your last 3 breath cycles here. And you're just observing how you can just be here. Everything that's coming is coming, and where we are now is all that there is. Okay. Very gently, you'll release. You'll bend that knee, drawing it into your chest, releasing the strap if you've had it, and then planting both feet, or rather taking your hip movement first before you plant both feet on the floor. And so you're just observing how this is working here. How does this side work? Not as to compare it to the other side, but just as its own unique entity. Yeah, we should have done that one on you on the other side too, Barbara. I can definitely see a drastic difference between the sides. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and bend both knees. Erica, you're gonna love this. Draw your knees in towards your chest. And then we're gonna take that dead bug position once again. So both arms reach up towards the sky, and this time both legs reach up towards the sky. I love that Pilates calls this dead bug. I'm not really quite sure, but that's what they do. So as you're here, the first thing we want to do is notice where your head is, notice where your shoulders are, notice where your hips are, seeing that all of that can stay rooted. And then I want you to see if you can draw your front ribs in together just a little. Yep. And then as you inhale, right leg will reach forward, left arm will reach back and over your head, seeing if those can coordinate at the same time. And then exhaling, coming back to center. Now we've got that again on the other side. So inhale, extending opposite limbs in opposite direction, and exhaling, coming back. Nice job, guys. Inhaling, got 4 more sets of these. And exhaling back to center. Inhaling, left leg, right arm. Exhale back to center. For these last 2 sets, I want you to see if you can move even slower by deepening the breath, not holding the breath, but deepening the breath. Yeah. And just observing and seeing if you can coordinate it. So maybe the hand touches the floor or back over the head at the same time that the heel reaches its depth. And maybe both limbs come back to center at the same time. Yep. And then our last set will draw us back to center. And when you've finished it evenly on both sides, just pause there and hang out for a moment. Both arms high, both legs high. Great. Now from here, inhale and start to send your feet forward about 2 inches, your arms back about 2 inches. Exhale, stay there. Inhale, limbs away from each other, another 2 inches. Exhale, stay there. 3 more. Inhale, limbs come away from each other, 2 more inches. Exhale, stay there. Yep, you're good, Roberta. Inhale, 2 more inches away. Exhale, stay there. And then we'll take one big breath here. And exhale, come all the way back into center, dead bug style. We're going to do that one more time. So inhale, if you need to bend the legs, bend the knees just a little bit, 2 inches away. Exhale, stay there. Inhale, 2 more inches. Exhale, stay there. Keep this together. Inhale, 2 more inches. You're doing good. Exhale, stay there. And last one, inhale, 2 more inches. And exhale, stay there. Now you can go to the depth that you want, and you're just going to hold it for 3 breath cycles. And again, you're just observing, bending the knees just a little bit to take out any of the extra weight of the legs. After your third exhalation, knees come to chest. Happy days, you are done. Rock and roll just a little bit. And you're just going to observe and see how you feel. And then gently extend both legs long. Notice how the body feels now. Taking a quick Xerox copy. And then you'll make your way onto your abdomen. How'd that go for your back, Roberta? Okay. And so then once you find yourself onto your back, go ahead and set your stomach, yep. Separate your hands so they're about shoulder distance apart, and then slide them back just a little bit so your thumbs might be in line with the tops of your nipples. And then you'll press down into the tops of your toenails. And we're going to just do a few of these. Your shoulders are going to slide onto the back. The elbows are going to hug towards each other. And you're going to see how much of this you can do with the strength of your back by keeping legs long, feet active. And you'll inhale and come up to your baby cobra. And you'll exhale, lower about halfway down. And then you'll inhale and come up into your baby cobra. Maybe a little higher this time, and exhale halfway down. You've got 3 more of these, and you're just pacing this on your breath. So you're noticing if you press down into the pinky toes and the big toes, yep, and then you come down. And those legs are isometrically drawing in as you push down into the feet, yep. And then you come down, especially for my people that have back and sacrum stuff, the more you can keep your legs active, you don't have to come up high, but it engages the back body to help support. Yep, and this last time when you come up to Cobra, you're going to stay there for about 3 breath cycles. Hug the elbows towards each other, lengthen the tailbone back a lot, yep, and the sternum reaches forward. And then you might find that you want to hover the hands off just to make sure the upper back is doing this work. The neck is really long. And at the end of your next exhalation, you'll gently lower all the way back down. Nice job. Go ahead and draw your right knee into your right bum. Reach around with one end or both hands and just grab that foot. And you're just observing here. So today we're playing a lot with going into dynamic movement and then coming out of it. And when we come out of it, are you noticing what happens to the breath? Sometimes we spend so much time in movement that we don't actually take a moment to check in and see how things are going. Great, and then you'll gently release that and you'll try the other side. Careful of the Lego blocks there, Jenny. Oh my God, this is hilarious. You guys can't see this, but Alexander has a giant tub of blocks that he's just decided to pour over most of her mat. I know. We're feeling for you, Jenny. And then you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Great. And then we'll gently release that. And then this time, hands are alongside your sacrum or alongside your hips, palms face in towards your legs. Great. Now, press down into your pinky toes, into your big toes, lengthen your tailbone back, and then draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back, and then lift your head about 2 to 3 inches up and away from the floor. Great. Now, as you inhale, I want you to reach your fingers back to reach your heart forward. As you exhale, I want you to draw the pubic bone into the belly to draw the low belly into the back. Great. Inhale, start to reach back through the toes even more. So much so that your legs float up and away from the floor. Nice job. As you exhale, just stay here. And then inhale, open the legs as wide as you want. And exhale, coming back in. And you've got about 4 more of these. And so we're just, again, working to stabilize our low back, our sacrum area. We're also working on some of our back body strength. Again, I can't speak for any of you, but I do know that when I'm not able to keep my back body strong, it does cause my heart to collapse just a little bit. It makes it hard to stay open. So we're just seeing how this is working. Nice job, guys. And those big toes are active, those inner thighs are active, especially as you come in. Yep. And then the next time you come in, you're going to hold there for about 3 breath cycles. You continue to hug the shoulder blades onto the back and notice that that creates a softening in the front of the chest. Yep, that maybe lifts the head a little higher. Keep lengthening back through the tailbone, back through the inner thighs. And after you've taken your 3 breaths, you will soften the body all the way down to the floor and take a happy pause, happy pause, happy breath. And you just notice, how's the body? Okay. And if one ear's to the mat, please bring the other ear to the mat. Great. Now, yogi's choice. Either you can open the arms out to a T shape or you can open the arms out to a cactus shape. And we'll start by looking towards our right hand first. Slide your right hand shoulder thing to the right just a bit. So slide it out away from you towards the right. Yep. And then turn and look towards your left hand. Step your left hand underneath your left shoulder. Push down into the left hand, and you'll start to roll towards the right as much or as little as you want. But again, you're going to take about 3 breath cycles here. If that elbow is bent, you're still pushing into the elbow and the hand equally. If the arm is long, you're pushing down into that right hand. And then you can notice what happens if you lift your head a little bit from the floor, drop it a little bit down. If you draw your right boob area closer to your left thumb. And you're just observing and paying attention to how the chest is, how all of this is starting to open and react, respond, change just by being present with it, just by breathing with it, breathing into it. Great. Very gently, you'll come back onto your abdomen. And then we'll switch sides as you're ready. So the left arm will reach out to the left, then look towards the right, step the right hand underneath the right shoulder. And then when you're ready, you'll start to roll towards the left. And maybe the hips stack, maybe they don't. What's more important is that you're paying attention to what's happening in your left arm area, paying attention to that space that's pec major, pec minor between the nipple and the upper arm. And then noticing again what happens if you move the head a bit, noticing what's happening to your breath, noticing what happens if you isometrically pull back with that left hand, left elbow. And then very gently, you'll find yourself back onto your abdomen. Great. And then you just take a moment to pause. Cool. Let's go ahead and move on. When you're ready, hands underneath the shoulders. Now listen very closely to this. I want you to keep your knees on the floor. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back, and you're going to push up into a push-up position with your knees staying on the floor. So one piece. Yeah. Awesome sauce. And then you'll slowly lower back down. And we're going to do that again. So knees stay on the floor. Push up in one piece. Yep. And lower back down. I know. And one more time. Awesome sauce. From here, tuck the toes under if they're not. Lift the knees up and away from the floor, and three steady breath cycles here in plank. And you're just going to observe and pause and notice what you notice. We started off on our back. We started off pretty easy, I think. And you're just going to notice what you notice as you're here. Can the breath still be the most important part? Can you observe how this is working for you now? Lengthening those tailbones back and keeping your head lifted just a bit. Yep. As you're ready, you'll gently bend the knees, and I want you to lift your hips back towards a downward facing dog just to stretch out the spine. And when you find yourself there, you might find that you want to slowly pedal through one leg and slowly pedal through the other. And you're just taking the time to breathe. There's nothing that you have to be doing other than what it feels like organically you wish to be doing. So you've got 4 more breath cycles here. And I encourage you to make them the most luxurious breaths you've taken all day. Might be the most luxurious breaths you've taken all week. Might even be the most luxurious breaths you've taken all month, but you're just letting yourself be in your body, experiencing all the different sensations as they arise. Great. And then when you're ready, you'll come to a still neutral spot. And then you'll inhale back down to hands and knees. I do encourage you at this point to plant a blanket underneath your knees, but you choose to do whatever works for you. And then also at this point, you might want to bring both blocks to the upper outer corners of your space if you haven't done that already. And then the first thing that we're going to do is you're just going to do a few simple cats and cows just to see how this is feeling now. So we haven't done full flexion of the spine as of yet. We've done some flexion of the hips, but we haven't done full flexion of the spine. And so as you're taking these cats and cows, I want you to just observe and feel what this feels like. So flexion of the spine just basically is cat pose. It's decreasing the space between the joints and the front of the body. An extension of the spine is increasing space in the joints in the front of the body. And so you're just noticing what this feels like. And after you've taken 4 sets of those, by all means, do any other organic movement that feels better to you than that. And we're just using this as a sort of palate cleanser before we go on to our next thing. Great. You've got about 2 to 3 more breath cycles doing what you're doing. And I encourage you to make the most of it. I think it's odd that, as a culture, we talk a lot about unconditional love, but I don't think a lot of us know what that means, honestly. It means that you don't have to do or be anything other than how you are, who you are at any given moment to be worthy of being loved. And so that's all you're doing right now. You're showing your body some unconditional love. It doesn't need to do or be any other way that it is. Great. And when you feel complete, you'll come to a still neutral spot. Please make sure hands are underneath your shoulders and your hips are over your knees. So we're going to see if we can press down into the L shape of our hands especially. And then as you inhale, slide your right foot back, keeping your toes on the floor. Great. As you exhale here, I want you to draw your low belly in. Yep, lengthen your tailbone back and see if you can lift that outer right hip just a smidge. Yep. Next in breath, reach your toes so far back they float up and away from the floor. And exhale, lower it down. We got 4 of these. Keep your hips as square as they can as you inhale and lift. And exhale, lower. Yep. 3 more. Inhale, lifting high. Exhale, tapping down. Great. Last one. Now, the next time you lift that right leg up, we're going to stay there for about 5 breath cycles. You can stay here, just pushing the floor away, hugging your front ribs into the back body. Yep, and lifting up through that inner right thigh. If you want to make this harder, by all means, you just crawl your left fingertips forward. And again, you're still hugging those front ribs in and back, lengthening your tailbone back a lot, like there's a line of energy from your head through your shoulder blades, yup, through your ribs, through your tailbone, through your toes. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. And maybe that left hand eventually lifts away from the floor. Maybe it doesn't. And you've got 2 more steady breath cycles here. Yep. And at the end of your next exhalation, left hand returns to the floor. Pause. Sweep your right leg out to the right. Put the sole of the foot on the floor till right foot is in line with left knee. And we're just going to pause here for a moment. You might want to tuck your back toes under if that feels better to you. And I want you to just see here how it feels to just push into your right foot and then start to send your hips back until you feel a nice stretch on the inside edge of that right thigh. You might go far, you might not, but you're just pausing and you're breathing until you find a fun spot on the inner right thigh. And then notice what happened to your breath. So when we're in dynamic movement, it makes it so much easier for us to move. I think that's why people like running. When you're running, you physically have to breathe. Your body will stop moving if you're not breathing. But when we're a little bit more still, it becomes harder for us to consciously remain attached or connected to our breath. Great. On your next in-breath, you'll gently come back up, walking hands forward if need be. And then you'll step that right foot so it comes back to meet the left. So you'll come back to hands and knees. And then if you'd like, palate cleanser, cats and cows, noticing what that feels like. And conversely, if you'd like, Anahatasana might be a fun palate cleanser to take. So you would just walk your hands, so heart tilting pose. You keep your knees as they are, thighs as they are. Just walk your hands forward. Sternum reaches towards your chin. Chin draws in towards the sternum. And you just find this nice opening across the upper back body. Yep. Nice job, guys. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Great. Those look lovely. And then gently, when you're ready, you'll walk yourself back out. You'll come back to hands and knees. And then we'll try all that on the other side. So hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, slide your left foot back, left toes on the floor. And then exhale, before you go here, I want you to draw your front 2 hip bones towards each other. Yep. Lengthen your tailbone back. And then inhale, float that leg up and away from the floor. Yep. And exhale, come back down, tapping toes. And you've got about 4 more of these. And you're seeing if, yeah, that looks better on this side, guys. You're seeing if you can keep that outer left hip lifted and inflating into your low back. So the front body is helping to support the back body, especially if we're finding that we have a lot of low back pain. This is helping to strengthen this portion of the body so that we don't need to experience that any more than need be. Nice job. Breathe into my hand. Nope, breathe into my hand. So push me away. There you go. Yeah. And then the next time that left leg is lifted, you'll stay there. I want you to inflate your low back. So as though there was a balloon there, float that up. Yep. You might stay here, reaching your outer left hip to the floor, your inner left thigh up. You might start to crawl your right hand forward and maybe lift your right palm away from the floor. And again, you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Nice job, guys. You got 2 more breath cycles here. How can you just scan the body to see where there's any tension? You don't have to do anything about it, really. You just notice that it's there and it naturally starts to shift on its own. And then at the end of the next exhalation, gently release, releasing the right hand to the floor, swimming your left foot out towards the left in line with your right knee. And then you'll take a moment to pause, pressing down on the knife edge of that foot and then shifting your hips back as far as you want until you start to find a stretch on the inside edge of that left leg. And as Barbara's doing here, she's moving a little in and out. So you might find that you want to come in and out of the shape. Dynamic movement really helps the body, the neurological system especially, come online and make things relax in ways that sometimes just holding something doesn't. But you choose what's working for you. And then you just got 4 steady breaths. Great. At the end of your next exhalation, you'll gently come forward. Redraw that left leg next to the right. Take some cats and cows if you'd like, or press back to a downward facing dog and see how that feels. Great. And you're just doing what feels best to you. So my people in down dog, feel if that feels good to be still. If you want to shift your hips a little bit like you're wagging a tail, if you want to bend a knee a little bit, if you want to peer under one shoulder or stay completely still, but you're allowing yourself to give yourself permission to just be with what is. Again, I can't speak for any of you, but I do know that I spend a lot of time trying to change the reality of things, which sometimes good, sometimes not so good. All right. Now, if you're in down dog, you may choose to get there from here. If you're hands and knees, you may choose to get there from there. What you're going to do is you're going to step your right foot forward between your hands. So either from down dog or from hands and knees, and your hands might then come to the floor or the blocks in front of you. And I want you to notice what's going to happen. You can start by moving forward and back just a little bit if that feels good to you. You can shift a little bit right to left, but you're paying attention to what's happening on the inside edge of your left thigh. If you stay in a complete lunge the whole time, notice what happens if you reach back through that left foot, how that increases sensation a little bit. If you're straightening that leg, notice what happens if you push down through the ball of the front foot as you straighten that front leg. Great. And you've got 3 more breath cycles, either moving right to left or straightening that leg, but you're just observing. What if we didn't need to do anything for a particular outcome other than, just be with what was, be with what felt good? Great. Those that are bending and straightening that leg, the next time you bend the leg, stay there. All of us, let's lower the back knee down to the mat, patting it if need be. Now, once you find yourself here, you might choose to bring that hand, your left hand, to the floor. You might choose to bring your right hand to the outside edge of your right knee. But I want you to inhale and reach your heart forward, and then you're just going to rotate as much as it feels good to you. You're still isometrically pulling that back knee forward. You're pushing down into that right knee a lot, and you're wrapping from the low belly around towards the head. And you might stay there. You might bend the back knee. You might reach around and grab the outside edge of the back foot. Now, these are shapes that we haven't done in a while because they're not so dynamic. Yep. And so you'll find that your body's like, what the heck is this? And so I want you to notice if you've stopped breathing, if you're grimacing your face. If so, yeah, please let that go. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're seeing how that feels. Let go of any tension in your face. Great. If you're holding that back foot, gently release it. Bring both hands to the floor or the blocks. Straighten your front leg long, shift your bum back, and lift the sole of the front foot up and away from the floor. And again, with the hands on the blocks and the right leg now straight, I want you to notice what happens if you just rock on the heel. Yeah, this is fun. Hi, Erica, you asked for hamstrings. Barb, see what happens if you turn your blocks up just a bit and maybe walk them in. I know it might be weird with the blanket, but it just gives you the little opportunity. And sometimes I like to point and flex the foot. It gives weird things happening in the backs of the legs. And you just notice what that feels like. Great. And when you feel you've done all your exploration, you'll come back to hands and knees and then make your way back to downward facing dog. And again, just a few breath cycles. Notice what it feels like on the right side. Notice what it feels like on the left side. You're just taking a scan like you're a Xerox. There's no opinion. It's just an observation. It's a recording of what's happening. Great. And then as you're ready, we'll try that on the other side. So you'll exhale, step your left foot between your left or both hands really. And then you'll do perhaps what you did on the other side. So you might just go a little forward and back. You might go right to left. You might find that you want to bend and straighten that front leg. But again, you're just paying attention to what is working for you. And then how is the breath? Thoughts are always going to come up, but we just notice what's happening in the breath. Great. Those that are bending and straightening that front leg, the next time you bend the front knee and come forward, gently lower the back knee down onto the mat. You might bring your hands onto the floors or they might stay on your blocks. The right hand slightly off to the right, the left hand outside of your left knee, and then inhale, push down into left foot, right knee, and start to wrap the left low belly back as you rotate towards the left. And happy to stay there if that works for you. Otherwise, reach back and perhaps grab the edge of your back foot. And you just pause and you breathe. And as you're doing this, I encourage you to push down into left foot, right knee, right hand, and see how much you can lift the torso out. So you're not collapsing into rotate, you're lifting up to rotate. Yeah, nice. And then Barbara, draw the belly back on the left side a little bit more. Yep. Great. And you just notice, take your last exhalation here, gently release the right foot, hands come to floor or blocks, shift your weight back, straighten the front leg long, and again, pull all 5 toes back towards your face. You might find that you want to shift the heel, rolling on the heel so the toes point out to the left and then maybe into the right. And the more you can press out through the big toe mound of that left foot, especially as you curl the 4th and 5th toes, yep, 4th and 5th toes back, it'll just give you a little bit more sensation. And then maybe you point that foot if that feels good to you. Awesome. Okay. And then when you're ready, you'll gently release that foot. Come back to the hands. Come back to down dog. Sorry, I just watched Jenny Alexander standing on her block and doing things, and she had to tell him no. I'm like, and now he's crying. Oh man. Oh man. And then you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. And again, it might be some little fidgeting around. It might be complete stillness, but you're just giving yourself the opportunity to scan what's going on. Okay. Great. All right. Let's go ahead and come down to hands and knees. Bring your bum to the floor and then swing your legs around in front of you. So last few things. So I want you to bring your hands back behind you and you're going to really widen your feet outside of your hips. This is very awkward. And then you're just going to let your right leg fall in. And you're going to pay attention where you feel stuff. Some of you may feel something, some of you may feel nothing. And then you'll just inhale and come back up. So we're allowing the legs to work independently. Did that hurt? Okay. We'll come back in. And you'll do that one more time on each side. So both knees are bent, both feet are on the floor. You're creating this little internal rotation of the legs. Awesome sauce. I don't know why, but for me, one leg feels like nothing and the other leg feels like a whole bunch of stuff. Jenny, I wonder what would happen if you walked your feet closer to your butt and wider out apart. Great. Okay. And then from here, we'll go ahead and draw both soles of the feet together and sit super tall. We're going to take a quad stretch for us to see how that goes, but you'll shift your weight to your left leg, grab your right ankle, see if you can draw your right knee close to your left ankle. And I encourage you to remove the flesh from the back of your right calf, and then you'll start to come over to your left. And you might just hang out here. We're paying attention to where the stretch is on the front of our right thigh. And if that's enough, if it's not in your hip and it's not in your knee, you stay there. Otherwise, you might start to make your way onto your back. If you come onto your back, you might need to lift your butt and reposition your butt so it feels like both halves of the sacrum are on the floor. Yep. And maybe you're just on your forearms, maybe you're on your back, maybe you're still just inching over to the left, but you're just noticing if you lengthen the tailbone towards that right knee, it gives you the opportunity to really focus on that right thigh. Oh my God, guys, like, that is the funniest thing ever. Jenny's lying on the floor. Alexander crawled all the way over her as she's on the floor. Just like, oh man. Well, Jenny, for what it's worth, my first yoga teacher said that you're doing yoga. Yoga's doing it when it's not the ideal situation. All right. And all the rest of us, let's just come back to check in with us. You got 2 more breath cycles there. And when you are ready to come back, you will roll to your left. You'll slowly come up to sit. And then from here, we're going to take a slight variation. So you'll draw that right leg back in front of you and extend both legs long in front. And I want you to just observe if things feel different from right to left. You might circle the ankles, you might be completely still, you might circle the wrists, but you're just noticing how the tone of the legs feel one compared to the other. And then when you're ready, we'll try that all on the other side. So soles of the feet come back together, Baddha Konasana, shift your weight to the right, grab your outer left ankle and draw your left foot back. Then I encourage you to bring the thumb to the back of the left calf, remove the flesh back and wide, and then you'll start to roll over to your right forearm. And you might stay there on your elbow. You might lift your pelvis up, slide a little bit more, and it just gives you some more sensation. You might find yourself all the way on your back. But you're just pausing and you're breathing. And it doesn't matter how low you go, it doesn't matter how high you are. We just want to make sure that that left quad is getting sensation. Does that feel okay? Does it feel okay on this foot? Okay. You feel sensation? Okay. Barb was like, don't make this worse. Just leave me here. Yeah, that looks nice, Roberta. How's that feel on your right shoulder? Not great? Okay, so walk the right hand a little bit closer to you, or closer to my thumb. And then you can still get that stretch by pushing down and lifting your ribcage up. Yeah, that looks better on the shoulder joint, and you're still getting the stretch. Great, okay. Do you want to do it too? Oh, okay. See, each body is unique. Okay, you guys have got 3 more breath cycles wherever you are. And I guess that's the beauty. Each body is unique. So you're just modifying this as you need to. Huh. That's a great idea. How do we modify life the way we need to? No, seriously. I mean, our practice is intended to help us learn how to be off the mat, and we can modify every shape to work for us. So, why on earth can't we modify every situation, relationship, job? When you're ready, you'll gently draw yourself back out of that, and you'll come back up, both legs extended, long dandasana, and you'll just notice how the energy is between the left and the right side. Okay. When you're ready, you'll make your way onto your backs. I do encourage you to have all of your props available to you. And my people at home or people in person, do you guys want to turn around or do you want to be as you are? Okay, let's turn around then. Sometimes it feels nice to just have the sun bathing you as you're laying down on your back. And you'll just take a moment here first to, again, start by taking that scan of the body, noticing how it feels to be here now. Great. And our last shapes that we'll end with will be a hip opener of your choice. So I encourage you to bend both knees and plant both feet on the floor. You can either take Sukhi Randrasana, figure 4, or you can take Gomukhasana legs. So you'll choose which one feels best to you. Gomukhasana would be you'd be crossing your thighs on top of each other and then hugging your knees towards your chest and grabbing your outer ankles, and then kicking the feet and pushing them really far apart from each other. So you choose which one works for you. So Erica, turn your palms to face up and grab your heels. Now flex through your feet and kick your feet as far apart as, yep. And then you can draw your knees as close to your chest as you want to, keeping your sacrum on the floor. Great, yep. And this is a fun, crazy stretch. And if you're doing, oh yeah, I have really long arms. It's really crazy. Let's push out through your big toes. Yep, and still flex through the whole entirety of your foot bar. Yeah, okay. Does that give you a different sensation? So we're trying to target the outer hips. And then as close as you draw the legs, as much as you kick the feet out, that's what impacts the hips. Okay. And my figure 4 people, that is an oldie but a goodie. And you're just pushing into the big toe mound, the foot that's not being drawn in. Actually, you're pressing out through the big toe mound of both feet. And you're pulling the 4th and 5th toes back a lot as you do that. And then you're noticing how you can soften any tension in your face, in your shoulders. And after you've taken 3 to 4 breath cycles in your hip thing of choice, you will come back to center before you switch sides. And I do encourage you to take a little brief pause and center either knees to chest or feet on floor, just to notice what it feels like. And then as you're ready, you'll try the other side, different exploration. Oh, that side's easier. That's crazy. Okay, like drastically different. And then again, you're still pushing out through the big toe mounds. The pinky toes are pulling back towards the knee. It's this weird, crazy sensation, but really doing that engages the peroneals. The peroneals, that's crazy. So there are 2 different muscles on the front of your shin bones. But there's another name for them also, the anterior tibialis. I don't know why this muscle has 2 different names, but when I take different classes from different people, they routinely either call it the anterior tibialis, which I mean, I guess is probably anatomically more correct, and as well as the peroneal muscles. It's very strange to me that this one muscle group people call by 2 different names. Great. And after you've done your little hip opener, I want you to just check in and see any final shapes or shape that you wish to explore before we find ourselves into final Shavasana. And my people at home, If you have something weighted that you can put on your abdomen when you get to Shavasana, that would feel really awesome. So a pillow might work, heavy blanket, maybe a series of blocks, anything that feels heavy. Really just rooting that on your abdomen feels really awesome, especially as we're in this change of season. And it's an odd sensation, but honestly, like having a little bit more. Barbara, can I give you a pillow? Put a pillow on your tummy. Great. And then you'll just take the first few minutes to do as we started. So I want you to fidget around a little bit until you feel like you're completely at ease being where you're at in this second moment period of time. And then we'll start the way we began or end the way we began. You're going to start from the crown of your head and you'll take that scan down. And the scan might be a little bit more detailed than the first. You'll notice the loosening of any tension just by paying attention to what's there. So scalp, across the forehead, down along the tops of the ears, across the eyebrows, the eyelids, the eye sockets, the nose, the lips, the jaw, the throat, the upper ribs and chest, middle ribs, low ribs, abdomen, middle abdomen, lower abdomen, the pelvis, the pubic bone, the thigh bones, kneecaps, shin bones, ankles, tops of feet, toenails, soles of feet, your heels, backs of the ankles, the calves, backs of the kneecaps, backs of thighs, buttocks, pelvis, sacrum, spine, lumbar spine, the thoracic spine, lowest floating ribs, middle ribs, back body, upper ribs, back body, shoulder blades, arm bones, elbows, backs of wrists, backs of palms, back of fingertips, across the palm, front of wrist, elbows, top of upper arm, top of shoulder blades, back down to back of neck, neck, skull, crown of head, back to third eye. And for the next 3 to 5 minutes here, you'll just allow your awareness to be where it is. For some of you, it might feel very grounding to keep your awareness in the abdomen and really just paying attention to that added weight and how it impacts the breath being received by the body and how it impacts the body letting go of the breath. Some of you might choose to keep your awareness at the third eye center, but you'll just hang out here. And when it's time to go, I'll let you know. Gently return your awareness. And remaining still, just notice what you notice. If there's any part of you that longs to linger here, by all means, hang out here for a few more cycles of breath or a few more moments. As you are ready to move on, you'll very gently draw small movement back into the physical form. Mindful of what you may have on your abdomen. You might need to remove that first before you start to make your way over to one of your sides. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those that are on your side, you'll pause there for just a few breaths before you start to make your way up to a tall, comfortable seat. When you are ready, you will make your way up to a tall, comfortable seat. And I do encourage you to elevate your bum on a block or a blanket. And so today we'll end with just a few rounds of Nadi Shodhana. We did so many asymmetrical things that it just helps balance things out. And so you'll sit in whatever way feels most comfortable to you. And you'll just take about 3 rounds of Nadi Shodhana on your own. So your, let's see if I can remember this. Your right hand is going to come towards your face. Either first and second finger rest on the forehead or they tuck in. Your thumb comes to the outside edge of the nostril, right nostril, ring finger, pinky finger, outside edge of left. Go ahead and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Close your lips, close your right nostril, inhale through your left. Top of your inhalation, close the left and exhale out through your right. When you need to, draw the breath in through your right. Top of your inhalation, close the right and exhale out through your left. That counts as one round. You'll do 3 more on your own. As you take these, see if you can really elongate the breath, making it a little bit smoother, a little bit longer. And you're just noticing how the breath is coming in and how the breath is going out. From a subtle body perspective, what this does is this balances your being and doing aspects, your solar and lunar aspects, your male and female aspects. After the fourth exhalation out through your left nostril, you'll simply lower your right hand. And then you'll just take a moment to pause and you'll take a moment to breathe. We'll go ahead and complete our practice by taking a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Go ahead and draw the hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms towards each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into your sternum and then lift your heart towards your hands. Gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. To that light, to that breath, to that sound, we bow. Namaste.